Today we're going to do lesson 8, order of operations. Order of operations is important because when you have an equation that has multiple operations in it, you will have to know which operation to do first in order to get the correct answer. Let's go over something that may help you a little bit to remember which one comes first. People call it PEMDAS, or please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, also known as parentheses, exponent, multiply, divide, add, and then subtract. These are the order that you have to do your operations in. Let's look at an example. Example 1. Now which one do we do first? Well, let's remember what our PEMDAS says. Well, let's first see if there's any parentheses. I don't see any. Exponents, I don't see any exponents. Multiplication, I see 21 times 5. And this dot just means multiply. So let's do that first. 21 times 5. Well, that's 105. Now we need to bring everything else down. So 14 plus 15 plus 105. Now it's just strictly adding. Let's add the 15 and the 105 together. And we get 120. Bring down the plus 14. So 14 plus 120 is 134. And that would be our final answer. Now a caution, things that people want to do is add these first, then add the 21 to the 15, then multiply all of it by 5. You don't do that. You have to remember the order of operations. Parentheses, exponent, multiply, divide, add, and subtract. Now when you're multiplying, dividing, just remember that whatever comes first between the two of them, it goes from left to right. Same thing with adding and subtracting. Whatever comes first, from left to right. Number 2. Let's look for any parentheses. We don't have any. Exponents, don't have any. Multiplication, we have 5 times 4. Let's do that one first. Okay, 5 times 4 is 20. Then bring down your addition and your subtraction. Now we look at the addition and subtraction. Now whatever comes first, left to right, you do first. So you have 25. You bring down your subtraction. Then you do your subtraction. And your answer is 21. Okay, first things first. We gotta recognize that this right here, when it's in the parentheses, this just means multiplying it. So the 4 times whatever's in the parentheses being multiplied. So let's just put that there, just to remind ourselves. Now, we have parentheses, so let's do the parentheses first. Whatever's in the parentheses, we're gonna add together. So 3 plus 5, we're gonna add them together, you get 8. Parentheses stay there and bring everything else down. Keep the multiplication sign because this helps what that parentheses mean also. Now we look at the PEMDAS again. There's no really parentheses they're taken care of, so we can drop those. Nothing else we can do in them. Exponents, there's no exponent, but there's multiplication now. 4 times 8. 32. Now we have to add the 3 to that. We bring down our 3, so 3 plus 32, 35. And that is your final answer. Okay, let's go over a little bit about exponents. So the little 2 up there is called an exponent, and the little 3 is called an exponent. Now all that means is you're just multiplying this number 2 times, and you're multiplying this number right here 3 times. So something like this. So 2 times 2, because it's 2 times, and now we have 2 times 2 times 2, 3 times. So that's what the exponents do, is whatever the number is, that's how many times we multiply the base number. Okay, and then since this is rewritten, we can write it with the addition sign because there was an addition sign here. So we rewrote this as this, and we rewrote this as this, and now we're adding them together. So let's look at the PEMDAS again. All I see here left, we took care of the exponents, now we just have multiplication we need to take care of before we get to the addition. So just do it left from right, multiplication, 2 times 2. We'd have 4 on this side. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. All we have left is 4 plus 8, which is 12. So remember with exponents, do your exponents first, but then after that, then you do your multiplication. Then if it's adding, subtracting, whatever it is, just remember to follow the PEMDAS rule. Okay, let's look at the PEMDAS. There's no parentheses, there's no exponents, but there's multiplication. Let's just take care of the multiplication division left to right. The left we have here 5 multiplied by 6, we get 30. Bring down everything else. Now we still have multiplication, take it left from right. 30 multiplied by 4, you get 120. Now bring everything else down. Now we have multiplication on the right hand side. 5 multiplied by 2, which you would get 10. Now bring down your 120. Don't forget your addition sign. Now add those together and you get 130. And that would be your final answer. Another thing that you can do is you can multiply this side and then multiply this side, then add them together. You would still get the same answer since you don't have any other conflicting operations like dividing. Okay, we have a 3 up here, and the base right here is the 2 plus 5. So what we're going to do is multiply this base by itself 3 times. Okay, now I wrote this out 3 times, and they're all being multiplied, because that's what this exponent 3 tells you. Now we do the PEMDAS, 2 plus 5. In this case, you can do either way. You can take care of the parentheses first. You can add these up, and do a 7, and then 7 multiply itself 3 times. Or you can just take the base and multiply it 3 times just to change it, and then do PEMDAS. So this 2 plus 5 would be 7. And since these are all being multiplied, don't forget to bring down your multiplication. So you multiply the 7 times 7, it's 49. And you have 49 times 7, which is 343. And this would be your final answer. I'm going to show you another way of doing this problem, and you will see that we'll get the same answer. If you know how to work with exponents or with the division problems or anything where you can change the problem before you do the PEMDAS to make it look easier on you, then you go ahead and do that. Then go ahead and do the operations. So something that might be easy is do PEMDAS right away on this problem. So parentheses, we take care of whatever's in the parentheses, 2 plus 5, 7. And don't forget the exponent, so 7 to the 3rd power. So this just means 7 multiplied by itself 3 times. Okay, we know how to do this again. 7 times 7 is 49. And we bring down the 7. 49 times 7 is 343. And then again, we got the same answer. And there it is. Okay, let's take care of this first. Let's look at parentheses first. We're just going to do PEMDAS, not try to change the problem to make it look simpler. Take everything in the parentheses. 3 plus 6 is 9. Don't forget the exponent. It's raised to the 2nd power. And I'll bring everything else down. Next, you're going to take care of your exponent. 9 to the 2nd power, so it's 9 times 9. And we know what that is. 81. Now bring everything else down. Let's look at PEMDAS. We took all the parentheses, took all the exponents we have. Now let's take a multiplication and division left to right. So we multiply now. 5 times 3, we got 15. Now bring everything else down. Now we check, see if we have any more multiplication division, since we took care of the parentheses and exponents. We have another division, and no more multiplication. So let's do the division now. 4 divided by 2, just get 2. Now bring everything else down. So now we have 81 plus 15 minus 2. Now let's look at the adding and subtracting part. The adding comes first. In this case, if the subtracting came first from the left, then you do that first, even though it says adding and subtracting. But they're opposites, so you just take it left and right. So let's add 81 to 15, and you get 96. So you have 96 minus 2, and then when you do that, you get 94. And 94 is your answer. Okay, now we have a little more stuff on the outside. Don't forget, if you have parentheses and a number, you're multiplying that number by the parentheses, whatever's in the parentheses. So don't forget your multiplication sign you can put right here. So let's look at the PEMDAS. We have parentheses, so let's take care of that first, whatever's in the parentheses. So negative 14 plus 5, you get negative 9. Don't forget your exponent of 2. I like to leave the parentheses around it so I don't get confused that I have a negative number multiplied by 12. Bring everything else down. Okay, we have exponent. Now let's take care of the exponents. Negative 9 times negative 9 becomes a positive number. When you multiply 2 negatives, you get a positive. You get a positive 81. And bring everything else down. So let's take care of that exponent right here. 3 times 3 is 9. Now let's do the PEMDAS. Let's do we got rid of the parentheses, we got rid of all the exponents. Now let's look at multiplication, division. left to right. We don't have any division, so let's just do the multiplication left to right. Multiply the 12 times the 81, you get 972. And let's go ahead and take care of the other one. 5 multiplied by 9, you get 45. And then just bring down your addition sign, because you're still adding them together. Now add them together, and you get 1017. And that would be your final answer. This might look a little weird, but first we want to do is do the inner parentheses first, these ones, and then we'll take care of the outside parentheses. This bracket here is a parenthesis, but we do the inner, then the outer, and then we take care of everything else in order. So the inner parentheses, we take care of 12 minus 10, 2. Don't forget it's raised by the second power. Bring everything else down, and don't forget your brackets. Okay, and then don't forget your 2 on the outside. Now the 2 on the outside is being multiplied by everything on the inside, so don't forget to add your multiplication sign. Okay, now we have exponent. We have to do the exponent first in order to take care of the parentheses on the inside. So 2 to the power of 2 is just 2 times 2. So another way of writing this on the top is something like this. So we have 2 times 2 plus 5 times everything here by 2. So 2 times 2. Don't forget your parentheses. Bring down your 2 and your multiplication. So now you still have your parentheses we need to take care of. So 4 plus 5 is 9. And then we have the 2 also to bring down. And since we took care of everything in the parentheses, we can get rid of them now. So it's just 9 times 2. And 18 would be your final answer. Okay, this one's just straightforward. Let's just do the PEMDAS. There's no parentheses, there's no exponents. There's multiplication and division, so we just take those from right to left. The division comes first because it's on the left hand side. Don't do the multiplication, do the division first because it's from left to right when they're opposites. So 100 divided by 10, you have 10, and then bring everything else down. So 10 times 2, 20, bring everything else down. So you have 20 minus 5 plus 4. Now you have your added and subtraction, you just take it from left to right. And on the left hand side you have your 20 minus 5, you have 15. Bring everything down, now you have 15 plus 4, which you can get to 19. So 19 would be your final answer. Okay, this looks like a big hairy mess, but we can take care of it. Go ahead and do the PEMDAS rules. So we have 2 sets of parentheses. Here, let's do the inner one first. So 5 plus 3, we get 8. Don't forget bringing down your power. So 8 to the second power plus 6. Now we close the parentheses, bring down the parentheses also. Bring everything else down on the other side. We can still take care of this parenthesis here or take care of this parenthesis. It doesn't matter. They're both on the outside. They're not in another set of parentheses. This one may be a little bit easier. Let's do 4 plus 6. It's 10. Don't forget your power. Bring everything else down. Okay, now we still have this parenthesis we got to take care of. But there's still an exponent. So in order to take care of the parenthesis, we got to take care of the exponent. So 8 power of 2, which 8 times 8 is 64. So we still have those parentheses. 64 plus 6 would be 70. Now we look back at the PEMDAS. All the parentheses are taken care of. 70 is just one number, so we can drop those. And now it's just 70 multiplied by 3, divided by 10 to the second power. We still have an exponent we need to take care of. So parentheses and an exponent, take care of this. 10 times 10 would be 100. So all the exponents are taken care of now. Now we look back at multiplication division. We have multiplication division. Now multiplication is on the far left, so we take care of that one first. 210. So you have 210 divided by 100. And that would just be equal to 2.1. We could also rewrite this as 210 over 100. And these zeros will cancel. So you're just left with 21 over 10. And we know how to change that into a decimal form. The 10 just means one place over to the left. So it'd just be equal, you move the decimal over one place. So it'd be 2.1. And that would be your final answer. Okay, let's look at another way of changing this problem, just to look at it a different way. Sometimes when you change the problem, it makes it look easier to you, and so you'll be able to attack it at a different view. So to change this, we see that we have a division sign. All the division sign just means you have a fraction. So if we write a simple division problem like this, just pretend this is one number and this is another number, then it'd just be 10 divided by 100. So all you have to do is change that to 10 over 100. Same thing here, you have one number, so you do all the order operations on this side, over another number if you do all the operations for these numbers. So it should look something like this. So you simply have this. This line is that division sign that we had when we just moved things around. This one being on top, the other one bottom. Just like the other problem that we had as 10 divided by 100. We'll just put this one on top and this one on bottom. Now this might look more messy, but we could also do another thing to change it to make it a little more simple. This multiplication is just saying multiply this by 3. All this whole area in this parentheses is my 3. So you can just move this 3 over on this side. It doesn't matter which side it's on, you're still multiplying it by 3. And so we just move that on the other side. Now you can take care of the top first or the bottom first, doesn't matter, and just use the PEMDAS rules. Let's do the inner parentheses on the top first. So 5 plus 3, 8. Now we took care of the inside and we added the 5 plus 3. And it's still raised to the second power. You just take care of the exponents now. So 8 to the power of 2 is just 8 times 8 2 times. And that would just equal 64. So replacing that with a 64, we got rid of the exponent. Now we can add the 64 plus the 6, which we know to be 70. We get rid of the parentheses because there's no operations to do within them. So we drop them. And now it's just a simple multiplication on top. So 3 times 70, we get to 210. Okay, now the top has been finished. Now we can start on the bottom. Now you just do the PEMDAS for the bottom. You can do 4 plus 6, which is just 10. 10 to the power of 2 is just 10 times 10, which is 100. And since there's no other operation, we can drop the parentheses now. So it's just 210 over 100. Now, you saw this before. Make this into reduced fraction. Cancel the zeros off. So it's 21 over 10. And we can change that into a decimal. 10 tells us move the decimal of the 21 over one place to the left. So we just get 2.1. And that would be your final answer. Now you see that there's multiple ways of tackling this problem. You can change it and then do the PEMDAS. You can do the PEMDAS of the top fraction and the bottom fraction. Or you can just do the other way where it's just a line and then you just tackle PEMDAS without changing it. So those examples might be a little more tricky right now. They may seem difficult, but as you get practice with them, you'll get the hang of it and know when to use PEMDAS and when not to use PEMDAS. So you can change it into a different problem and then use PEMDAS. So go ahead and practice those. We'll be putting up exercises soon. And thank you for watching. Catch all our videos on mymathmanual.com.